It's always something. Yeah. Welcome to our Monday, October 3rd meeting of the Wasaga Beach Advisory Committee of Tourism. It is 1:05. We'll call the meeting to order and begin with land acknowledgement statement.
All right. So I would like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Metis, and Inuit people of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that the town of Wasaga Beach is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Tionatati, and Wendat, and is home of many First Nations, Metis, and Inuit peoples as part of the intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask for guidance in all we do.
Thank you, Caitlin. Next, do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest around the table? If not, we'll move on to adoption of minutes. We have the minutes of September 20th, and I have reviewed them. They were sent out. Is there any revisions or changes that are recommended or required? If not, I'd ask that we have a motion to accept the minutes of September 20th as presented. We have a motion. Wendy, second. Ken, all in favor? Okay, passed. We have no deputations or presentations. And unfinished business, we have a Beautification Task Force strategy. This was one of the reasons why we wanted to come back together again today, was to discuss how we can approach bringing this this idea that we had as a committee and bringing this forward that might be adopted as part of our community and the strategies within being seen as the priority that it is by the community. Had a discussion, should I bring up the discussion that we had? We had a discussion this morning with Doug and Caitlin, and just about the specific process that we need to go through in order to bring this to the foreground. And Doug had suggested that the process that we were using was maybe not the best way of going about it, and that we could realign this in a different way. The reality is that what we want as an ACT committee, and what we thought would be important, is that the beautification strategy that we spoke about over the last few weeks or few meetings, we want the council and we want the community to understand that we see it, the ACT sees it as a key strategy, a very important goal that we need to get behind for 2023 and beyond. And as a committee, we want to see that the strategies for this committee are laid out in a way that it is understood by council, that we want them to put the strategies in place. And I'm not sure if I should be, I mean, I can go through my thoughts on this, but Doug, maybe if you would identify what steps we need to do in order to bring this forward. Would that be appropriate?
I'd be more than happy to help, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
With guidance on steps. So staff requested that the report be pulled from the agenda. Seeing that it's such a good and timely idea, and our role as advisory to the committee to help guide the committee on bring this idea to fruition. So the key thing is we spoke to clerks this morning, and clerks recommended that what ACT seeks to do is secure from council, council's blessing that the idea of town beautification be a goal of the committee. So currently we have the terms of reference that stipulates the roles and objectives of the committee. And similar with other advisory committees, every year those committees will bring a list of objectives that they want to complete in a particular year. And that's what ACT wants to do here. So in our advisory role, staff are suggesting that the ACT reshape how they want to approach this and bring a report to council suggesting that the town beautification project be a primary goal of the committee for 2023. And then you may want to bolster that by suggesting the rationale for it. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we've had a long discussion from Chris, and Chris explained the rationale. Build that into the report to council. And also, you may want to include in the report to council what the end goal would be. So again, Mr. Chairman explained to staff this morning that the end goal would be making the town ready to host visitors by the spring. And there are a number of different objectives that the committee would like to see happen as part of this beautification role. So I think what the committee wants to do here is just bring a report to council saying, we want to have this as an objective for 2023 for our committee. Here's what we want to achieve, and here are some of the actual projects we want to go forward with to support that goal. And I'm being careful not to tell you what the goal is, because it has to come from the committee, and I'm being careful not to say what the objectives would be, because again, that would come from the committee. I don't want to steal your role. But Chris mentioned to us this morning that having the picnic tables in the park not look so ramshackle, so that we're prepared for visitors, to make sure that garbage is picked up in a timely manner so that the place doesn't look messy after a weekend. Those are all ideal goals and would certainly be well in line with town beautification project. I think there are more ideas that the committee could come up with to bolster this in terms of bringing it to council. So I'll stop there.
No, and definitely Doug is paraphrasing a lot of the things that were discussed, and I think that what we need to make sure is that our goal of having a beautification strategy in place immediately is understood, and that with that goal, that we have clear strategy, clear timelines, action plans that involve multiple stakeholders, multiple parties, to be able to act upon that, and pulling together from budgets that are intertwined. But there's greater strength in all of us working together to achieve it. Yes, I brought forward one specific goal that I think it's a great one is for us to be ready to receive guests by May 1st. May 1st for this community is an important number, because it's when the doors open for the tourism season. Probably it's more specifically the May long weekend, but you need to make sure that you're ready to go. And we need to make sure that all the work has been done prior to that. I use the example Thanksgiving weekend coming up right now, and how I can tell you we've got guests coming to our place, and I'm sure we're not the only ones, but there's a long list of work to be done prior to the guests arriving. If my wife is watching this, she'll know. She's not happy I'm here right now, because that long list is not being adhered to right now. But we all have those lists, and and we should all be working very hard as a community, being ready to receive the guests. There's a lot of elements that go into, and I think that when we create this strategy, there are tangible, quantifiable goals that we can put in place. Mention about, I'd written down a handful. We spoke an hour and a half ago. I wrote down, for example, ensure all banners, flags, signage are repaired and in place for May 1st. All garbage receptacles are in good repair and in place. Park facilities are repaired and ready for guests. Roadways and parking lots are swept and in good repair. New branding and seasonal promotional signage is ready and in place. And there's probably a lot of other tangible, quantifiable goals that can go in there that can fall into the business's hands that we can all get behind. Making sure that your business is ready to receive guests. And it's nice to know as a community that individual businesses are working towards that same May 1st deadline, and that we all have a shared responsibility. So with that in mind, as a next step, the document that was forwarded is not, we're not going to be forwarding that document as was sent with the agenda kit that we had. We want to be able to put in place action that we can put specific goals, specific timelines, and information that can be provided to council, so that they will support the idea that this beautification strategy is a key goal for our committee and for the community for 2023. So, with that, what are the next steps that we need to put in place in order to do that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My suggestion as an advisory to the committee would be a rewrite of the report and structure it as a report to coordinated committee, which would in turn report to council, and structure it such that the committee recommends to council that a town beautification objective become a primary objective for the Act for 2023. So basically you're asking council to support the idea and give you the authority to follow up on the idea. And then in the report itself, you may also want to put in what some of the the principle of the objective, to make the town ready to host visitors. And the analogy of hosting guests in your own home over a long weekend is a very good analogy.
We all understand it.
We all get it, yeah. And we've all had those task lists that we've had to clean up the house and change the sheets and stuff.
My mother-in-law said that if it weren't for company, nothing would ever get done.
Right. And then bolster the report with actual ideas from the committee on what the committee sees in terms of, what should we do in town to make the town ready. And it may involve at that point other departments. It may involve other agencies like parks themselves, and that involvement would stem from the ideas. So the goal of this report would be to get council's blessing to move ahead with the project, give council an idea of what the committee is thinking of in terms of goals for the project. And once council approves it, then at that point, the committee could flush out those ideas, and staff would assist the committee in making relationship links and bringing those other parties to the table to try to bring the ideas to fruition. So in a nutshell, that's the form of how we would move ahead.
Okay, so for today, Caitlin, would you think the best approach would be that you recreate a report that would give that specific information?
Yeah, so working with you, Chair, I can draft a report and we can work on that together. What I'd like to hear from the committee is more objectives and like specific action items that they'd like to see get completed by the Beautification Committee, the proposed one. So perhaps, oh, sorry about that. Need to mute that. So perhaps that's a discussion that we can have at the table at this meeting.
Okay. I'm just shutting down mine too. Is there, so, yes, Sylvia.
If I could. I think it would be really important if we do get the direction to go ahead, that we invite Public Works in to tell us what they're already doing for street sweeping and what their goal is time-wise each year. I'm sure it's probably set with the weather, because until the snow melts, it's hard to sweep the streets. But I think it would be really important to hear what their plan is. Probably the same with Ontario Parks. I know Banners is possibly Caitlin and events, but again, we can hear from you, your timing. But then it would be really interesting to tie into the Chamber of Commerce to see how we can work with the businesses to either have a spring cleanup or come out with a little checklist to suggest to them, hey, you know, cut your grass, weed your flower beds. Because years ago I had an audit from an electrician and he was working on a program to retrofit our lights. But the first thing they do is they come in and they look in your business and they go, 80% of the businesses have light bulbs that are burnt out. And one of the first rules in retail is, you know, bright and inviting, and he said almost every business he went into had light bulbs burnt out. So I think if we were to give, you know, kind of come up with a checklist for businesses just to remind them, hey, you know, check your smoke detector battery, but check your light bulbs, check your, you know, your doorstep, you know, fluff your mat. Like there's things that when you go in and out of your house every day, you don't realize how chipped the front door paint has become until you get a visitor and you look at it with new eyes and go, oh, I should have painted that before Mom showed up. So I think things like that we could probably come out with as, you know, deliverables from this committee too. And we might also, in meeting with those agencies, find out that there may be a need with the town's gardening department for help in the spring. Because there's so many gardens and they probably just can't get through them all till June. So that might be a call for volunteers that we can support to say, hey, let's help beautify our town. So.
Organizing volunteers is a huge opportunity, and it can be done by region, like different parts of the community where they have an army of people that are all working together, not unlike how the Adopt the Road program is, and how, you know I involve myself in that every year, and it's a fun thing to do. You get your neighbors out and you clean up, you clean the roads. You can do the same thing with your communities. I love the checklist idea, and because for many, where do I start? Well, here's a checklist of things that you can look at for your own business and how it can be applied. Any other ideas? Dig in some.
I'm looking at Wendy. Seasonal decoration. I think if we could somehow encourage, like we all drive through Meaford this time of year and there's scarecrows everywhere. So I think if we were to remind people a month ahead, hey, Thanksgiving is coming, it's next weekend. Well, my summer flowers haven't died yet, so I haven't really got into the fall and the corn stalks because they haven't had the first frost. But it's Thanksgiving next weekend, and suddenly I'm like, oh, gee, So sometimes that prompt is not a bad thing, and maybe there's a little pot of money to incentivize, or we sponsor a Chamber of Commerce Business Award that best spring decoration, best fall decoration, best. So I think there could be something to tie into beautification for seasonal promotions.
I think awards are a great idea because you could also have, homes involved as well. Because I'd written down new branding and seasonal promotion signage or theming, or whatever it might be, that, that's in place. And that can be in place by the town, and it can be in place by businesses that select to involve themselves with these themes. With some of this, Sylvia had mentioned that our works department, they may say, well, we like to sweep the parking lots on this date because it fits better with our schedule. But if they knew that, as a community, we're working towards a particular goal, they may change some of their schedules, particularly if they realize what an important priority it is. I know that from our meetings in the past, I've gone around, I know on June 1st, some of this stuff wasn't done, and on July 1st, it still wasn't done. And it's a difficult thing because there's a lot of work to be done, but if we identify priorities as a community and as a council, if the council can identify those priorities, everyone will get behind them, and we're in a much better position to have things done in place to receive guests. Any other ideas that involving the beautification strategy?
I have an idea, sort of based on what Sylvia was saying, to have sort of maybe a date schedule, because exactly what you said about, you don't want to put your fall stuff up because we're still having beautiful sunny days that are like 25 degrees when your summer plants haven't died. But it might be interesting to send out to businesses just a calendar and say, can we get everyone maybe on the same page? Because if everyone's decorating with fall, then it's like, okay, we're all doing it. And if we all say, okay, how about we start decorating fall, in these days we'll start, and then everybody's on the same page, and then you don't feel like, don't know what to do and what day to do it. Before you know it, you get busy, and then you think back and you think, maybe I should have done that like 2 weeks ago now. And you're waiting for everybody else to start, but if everybody has the same timeline.
The entire idea of an action plan is that everyone's involved in working towards the same ultimate goal, May 1st.
And then further, that perhaps economic development be the hub for information, because the first few years, nobody knows where to get straw bales, not hay bales, the cheap ones, or corn stalks, or mums at wholesale pricing or whatever. But if I make a connection, I could just drop a quick message to Caitlin and say, hey, corn stalks are in stock this week at Valley Farm Market. And then the next person who's looking doesn't have to do that same research that I did to find those corn stalks. So it might be, you could be that hub for sharing decorating, affordable decorating ideas.
Doug?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The idea has a lot of soundness to it, and it has tones of what a BIA would normally do. And that when you see a BIA, it's usually a very distinct and strong commercial district, and they all put their decorations out at the same time, and it's all under the guidance of the BIA. We don't have that here. So the idea that we have a body to pull all the businesses together, so working with the Chamber of Commerce and having economic development, it's already our role to some extent to do that. So this, it's a natural fit. So there's a strength to the idea.
Anyone else around the table? Agata, we're not forgetting about you, by the way. We know you're there, so it's anything you want to add, just wave your hand or just jump in. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, there is a point in the existing report that was pulled today that I think is worthy of carrying forward, and it's the first bullet on which suggests that the beautification program or strategy include a work-back schedule with short and long-term objectives. I think there's merit in that because this may not only be a 2023 project, but it may evolve and grow and flourish into 2024 and 2025 as we learn more lessons. So I think it's important that we describe that to council, that there be short and long-term portions to the program. There may be different ideas that stem from the committee or from the community that go beyond just cleaning up and making the town ready. There may be ideas that borrow upon the new branding system, and maybe we add new color to the town in different ways through this project as well. So I think that's important, that there be carry forward on the project.
I had assumed that that this document would be a lot of the basis for what we would be presenting. I was hoping anyways that we would not be rewriting this. And I agree. I think the material in here, you can see I've made some revisions to that as well. I think that it's in its simplest form, it is be ready to receive guests by May 1st, but we're going to see how it's going to evolve, and it's going to involve a lot of other areas, planning and development. How do we, when we're creating a project and we want to have an end date for the project to be completed by, well, we don't want it to be completed, July 15th. We want it completed by April 15th, and everything about it has to do with the beautification of the community in the eyes of visitors that are coming to our area. So I think that, and year after year, it's going to evolve too, because as we put our best foot forward going into this project, June 15th, we'll be walking around and thinking, boy, we could really have done a much more effective job in this area, or this is an area that we can improve, and each year it will become better. May 1st just happens to be one evolving, or it's a short-term goal that will be a reoccurring, but there'll be a lot of other goals that fall within that involve different people, different budgets, and different timelines. Sylvia?
Different things keep. One suggestion could be the town kind of taking orders for umbrellas. A ton of businesses put out seasonal umbrellas, but maybe if you printed them with the town logo, we could help brand the town with Wasaga Beach's new logo. But if the town buys 100 umbrellas, it's a lot cheaper than me going out and buying 5. So it could be something that they could coordinate. I've presented before on picnic tables, benches, bike racks, all that kind of stuff, because Sauble Beach, they're absolutely beautiful metal benches say Sauble Beach. And I always thought, again, the town could do that PO for 100 benches. Sorry. And, each business could buy 1 or 2, but for me to go out and buy 1, they're $2,000. Whereas if you buy 100, they drop down to $800. So it suddenly becomes more affordable if we use the town's buying power, but we use the businesses to help us brand. So just a thought.
Very good. Keelan, what will be, do you have enough to work with right here, or that, I think that, we'll end up looking at this again before it goes to coordinated committee? I guess that's what, that would be the next process?
Yeah, I believe so. So what we'll do is we'll work together and write a report. Then I guess the report will go back to the tourism committee here for approval. And correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but then it'll go to coordinated committee under your name.
Okay. Good. Any further,
I maybe both names are on the report, but I think it normally comes in as a staff report. Yeah. Yeah, we just had that with the age-friendly.
Thank you.
We will get through this. Process. I said to Doug on the phone this morning, I said, in my past world, it'd be, this is something that has to be done now. Let's get it in place, effective tomorrow. But it doesn't work that way, But we will get to that point. Good. So really, there's nothing to, I don't believe there's any motion to accept anything on this. It's just, this has become a discussion item, new business, and will become a new business agenda for the next meeting. Yep. Okay. Thank you for everyone's input. Section C is website review. Caitlin, I believe you received a lot of information through Agata. Does Agata want to talk about this? Or
Yeah, so I was just going to thank everyone that did a detailed review of the website. I really appreciate it. Oh, I'm echoing here. Let me fix that. Is that better? Not sure why I did that. Anyway, okay.
Well, I unmuted myself. I guess I'm making the echo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. So, so what I'm going to do now is take those suggestions that were sent to me, and I'm going to chip away at it and see if we can accomplish everything on the platform that we have now. So I was just wondering if anyone has any more comments or suggestions that they want to discuss at the table, and perhaps if Agata wanted to go over the changes, would we like to do that? We could go over the changes that are proposed. Yeah, I can pull that up.
I'd be happy to go through the document if you could share it, Caitlin. Yeah, I wasn't sure that, if any changes would be coming. I just did a little bit of a review from the things I thought we could look at, and hopefully found some stuff that's useful.
Yeah, certainly. So let me pull that up here.
Agata, did you get my information from yesterday?
And I was just going to say, I know that Chris also added, if you could open the document that Chris has added onto, because I haven't had time to review it, Chris, but it would be better to go for that version, right? Because it's more recent.
I apologize for that. I was away last week and was unable to. Yeah.
No, I apologize that I wasn't able to have a look at it. Let's have a look at it now. It's great.
Okay, so I have it here on the screen, and then I'll pull up Chris's after. Does that work?
Sure, or just, yeah, I think that, I'm not sure how important, I'll take a look.
I think if you just opened Chris's, because Chris, correct me if you probably just added to the same document, right?
No, he has a separate document.
Oh, okay, I see. All right, sorry. Okay, so I think what I was trying to do, I opened on the 23rd of September, right? I opened up the wasagabeachtourism.com site and to have a look through the content and the functionality of the site. My main objectives were if there's any functionality that's broken or could be made more user-friendly, was the site attractive, and if there was any information that could not be located that should be on there, right? And so I was keeping those ideas in mind as I went through reviewing the site, which I basically did page by page, and the following is sort of the page by page review. So the scope of review, that section, is the first thing I did is I wanted to see how effective our SEO functions are, right? Meaning what search terms, and here I was just trying to pretend to be a tourist trying to look for a place to go, how quickly Wasaga Beach tourism website would come up, right? So the first thing that I searched for was beach, and I've only looked at the first page of results. So if you search for beach, Wasaga Beach does not come up. I was doing this while I was physically located in the GTA, which has an impact, right? Because although you can say, yeah, there are many beaches in the world, when I'm looking from the GTA at the search results, my geographic location is obviously taken into account, right? When I looked for the term Wasaga Beach, we still were actually, the tourism website was the fourth one down, after the town website, after the Ontario Parks website, the news, which brings in like the City B News, Barrie News, and so forth, and then the underneath that was the tourism site. I'm not sure if that's the order we want, right? Saying that the town takes the first spot. I don't know, the tourism one should take the first spot instead. Then I looked for day trips from Toronto and put in the links that come up. What I've seen that there's lots and lots of websites that are created with people's tourism suggestions, right? What perhaps could be an action for us, and I don't know how these sites work. I don't know if they're trying to monetize from advertising within them, but if they're not, if we could find a way to embed our links for tourism Wasaga in there, that could be a nice place to display it, because they write nice things about Wasaga. Best beach in Canada, the same thing. They do mention Wasaga, but we don't have a link in there, and sort of the same comment. I don't know if we have to pay to have a link in there.
Oh, I think we lost your voice.
Sorry.
No.
We lost you there, your mouth.
Oh, maybe my Wi-Fi. Am I back?
That's good.
Yeah. So I was looking at the, sorry. The Bruce Gray Simcoe, it's a tourism site for the region, right? And it includes a hyperlink to Tourism Wasaga on the Wasaga Beach page. So I guess that one's good. What we see, I've done most of my my review on a tablet and a little bit on a mobile. I didn't see any, broken links or any non-optimized things. So I think the company you guys have hired to look after the website that did a good job in those terms. And then so the broken link I found was the maps. So I'm not, I think this is like an older version of maps. I think maybe we need to leave them now. I found them in a few odd places. So Caitlin, I think that's probably something you'll be able to easily look after, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay. Then there's like an extra page in French that doesn't get an English equivalent. Some dead links. So I think that's all. I think those were like kind of specific things that you can easily take into considerations. Oh yeah, some more broken links from the Simcoe County Tourism. And then I think the big one that I was looking at is the contact us area. We don't seem to have on the Tourism Wasaga Beach. I took a screenshot from Prince Edward County. where it has the connect, right? Where they have the Facebook, YouTube, and the Instagram channels very front and central to how to connect with their tourism organization. For us, it was really sort of hidden. And I think it was written out in words too, that we don't even use the graphics for those social media sites. And then I've got some feedback on content, right? So on the 23rd of September, we still had that summer banner, which maybe that goes with, I'm thinking about the Beautification Committee and the task schedule, right? When we change out those images.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, okay, yeah, there we go. So on the homepage, so if you were to go to the homepage, so this Summer in Wasaga, that is our homepage. If you were to scroll right underneath that, there is a contact us link. And if you go to the contact list, it is very broad. So although I think it provides really good contacts, it doesn't provide that. If we go back and look at the Prince Edward County contact us, when a tourist is trying to contact Wasaga Beach Tourism, right? They're not looking for the Parks Department. And I think our links were they're too broad and they don't funnel everybody to one place. And then the homepage write-up, I think, I'm not sure what I think the video narration I was looking at, and then when I was looking at the write-up that we actually had on our front page, they were sort of disjointed, right, in terms of what we're doing. So the words that we're jumping, that's what I highlighted there, right? The different things that we have. We have the longest freshwater beach. We have a coastal dune ecosystem. We have millions of visitors, pristine natural landscape, and panoramic views, right? I don't know if this is what we are, if this really jumps out at people, or if it's how easy accessible the beach is. Or if it should just really be the transcript of the video, right? Of what Wasaga Beach is. Because this sounds very much like, it's a pristine beach, right? And I'm not sure that the people that are coming to Wasaga right now are really looking for this. Also, when I'm looking at the coastal dune ecosystems and how little of our dunes are actually protected, like when I think about a place like Sobel Beach, I question that. And I think that's all I saw. So overall, just some broken links that are easy to take care of. And the big thing is, I think, the message that we're sending, and where do we want to funnel interest when people do look for contact us, right? So that it's not spread across all the town departments and resources. And I guess over to Chris.
Yeah, if I can just add, Chair, thank you for going through this thorough review. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to go through each of these sections and make some changes based off your recommendations.
Thanks, Agata. That's great work that you put into it, and also with your background. What I can do, I did send through some recommendations yesterday that were unable to get onto this format. I can go through them very quickly and then send the hard copy to Caitlin. Just overall, as you enter into the site, my impressions, positive, attractive, inviting, colorful. It looked professional. I think some of the key links were simple and I think on topic, what I would be looking for. It does, as an overall feel, I feel it does lack a little bit of social or cultural diversity. It's pretty white, and I think we could probably get a few more photos in there that show a bit more diversity. I checked the French language toggle, and some of the visuals on the French portion did not load, so there's some connectivity issues. I identified about the logo. I'm not going to go into the whole logo thing because everyone around here knows how I feel, but will ask the question that we have the logo on there, and where will those tourists see that logo when they come to our community? And I would almost, again, use it as support to say, why don't we bring that, whatever logo we're going to use, singularly, put it on that website so that when they come to the town, they see the banners on the road and everything else, it all fits together. I'll just leave it on there as just a suggestion from one person. On the things to do, a couple of small notes. I'm not going to go through them all. On the trails, it was good paddling. I think that we should have a link, a strong link right on the main page to the paddling guide. Some of our specific areas that we identify, such as Schooner Town and so forth, will have no meaning whatsoever to a visitor looking at this site. Beaches, to me, I think, a bit of a concern as it identifies beaches. And it's been a concern globally for years for me. I find that how we message Beach 1 is misleading, and that I think that we would be that the proximity of Beach 1, we identify it as the main beach, but it's not just the main beach. The main beach is within Beach 1, and I think that we have to find some way of identifying that Beach 1 is the furthest east portion of the beach, and that it does have a quiet section within the provincial park, and then we do have something that is separate, known as the main beach, which is going to identify that section within Beach 1 that is located in front of the busy commercial area. Main beach is where the beach shops and the restaurants are. The main beach is where the action is and hosts, special events throughout the summer. I think that should be how we identify that portion, because it is confusing. And I think in our description, I often see people arriving here from GTA. They go to what they think, well, we're going to go to the main beach, and you can see that they're a little bit out of, I could pick a better beach for some of the people that are sitting there. Parking should be identified. I didn't see that parking was identified. Yeah, because it was there?
Oh, no,
No.
you mean under beaches?
Under beaches.
Yeah.
Parking is confusing at the best of time, and I think that we could, that should be identified. Under stay, we have bed and breakfasts, camping, cottage, chalet, hotel, motel, resort. So I'm not sure if all these categories, if you're planning for a future, all these categories are required, because I noticed that a lot of these businesses are located in 3 of the categories. They can be considered a resort, a hotel, motel, or a chalet, or a cottage. We can maybe simplify. I think that it is important that the photographs, that we do have at least one photograph for every single thing identified. I think it would add to the visual excitement and help connect some of this stuff, because it tends to be more of a text link or a text list. Under dining, I'm not sure if I understood what the difference is between local fare and good eats. If I were to make a suggestion, perhaps we have it categorized by food type. Italian, Asian, breakfast, fine dining, beachfront, bar, pub. Some of the links here were not functioning, and again, I think photo and formatting for each business would be important. Events. Recommendation, I know that right now, looking at it now, the only events were were October. And if I were looking right now, thinking what am I going to do for next year, it'd be nice to have past events located in there someplace, because it would tell me as a tourist looking at the site, planning on what I might do for next year, wow, there was all this stuff going on, you know, fireworks and events and concerts. It's a happening place. I think there'd be great value in that. There were some issues with some internal links. I did find some that were not working, and I also found that there were some spelling and typographical errors. You just need a proofreading person to go through it. That's impossible it's impossible to do the work and do the proofreading. It just doesn't work. You have to have a proofreading expert. Yeah, just the reality. Also, I didn't see anything that was for, what's the word? Accessibility issues and stuff like that. You know, we do have, you know, if I had mobility issues or accessibility issues, is there a place in here that would include me that I would be able to see, you know, where I could go and how I could enjoy Wasaga? So that's all my stuff in a nutshell. That's all I've got. Is there anyone else that have anything added to this?
Just a quick comment, I think we don't want to overpromise. So when you see the different categories, you have hotel, motel, bed and breakfast, resorts. I don't know that we have a lot of true resorts in Canada when you think, or in Wasaga Beach, when you think of, you know, going down, yeah, you think of Deerhurst, you think of, you know, over in Cranberry, where there's the spa, the full-service restaurant. So we don't really have that truly inclusive, you know, year-round indoor swimming pool type of so I just wonder if we come up with a category, but what it is to get into that category. So, you know, bed and breakfast is easy. The owner has to be on site and probably provide a meal at breakfast. But, you know, whether you're a hotel, a motel, a resort, whatever the other categories were, I think there probably should be some criteria, and rather putting the same people in 3 categories, just kind of fit them and have a picture. Again, because you don't want to undersell or oversell, you want them to know what they're going to get. And there's some really cool retro motels. The June Motel up in Sawa Beach is one that does a lot of marketing, and they really, really market the kind of the retro. And I think of Santa Fe, like you drive by and it's beautifully maintained, and it's really, like, it's got a neat edge. It's just nice to let people know what it is they're coming to. So.
What it is that they're coming to, and also the same thing is, I think, with, I felt the same way with the dining, that having a list and having a, without really defining what that is, and it's tough. You know, I'm trying to put myself in your position, Caitlin. You know, a lot of this, you don't have necessarily a lot of support coming back to you all the time. You know, that, you know, you're looking for businesses to get involved, and you don't always have that, but sometimes you almost have to, you know, put in your own photograph or something like that, and wait for you know, content to be edited. But it'd be a great place to at least start.
Well, just kind of flipping through it, like, it's a good business listing, but it's not necessarily, like, the one was a home baker for cakes in Ottawa. And I thought, well, that really doesn't have a lot of interest to somebody who's coming to visit the beach for the day. So I think maybe we just need to read through that. Unless you have a, you know, catering category, perfect, that's where you belong. Because if you're up here and you need a birthday cake, you want to know where to get one. But if you're just coming for lunch or dinner, then you need to kind of be looking at, you know, whether it's fast food, gourmet dining, would maybe be better categories.
Because, you know, as a tourist, you're looking for, where am I going to go for breakfast? Where am I going to, you know, I feel like having a sandwich on the beach. I feel like going to a pub. I can think of one. And it'd be nice if you could have, you know, the categories connected for each one of these ones, and a small photograph, so that of the exterior, so that when you're looking for it, you go, oh, found it, there it is. It's But anyways, but I'm sorry, it's very easy to do what we just did, go through and say, it needs this, it needs this, it needs this. And that's why I'm very careful to say that, you know, I find it looks modern, it looks beautiful, it's inviting. It has that character that is really, really great. And so I think the bones are all there. It's now all the details, and unfortunately, those details can take you forever, and it's just,
Yeah.
you get to May 1st.
Till May 1st. No, if I may, I just want to thank you for the comments. I agree with Sylvia and Chris as well. So we can easily condense the sections for the motels, hotels. Like it won't take too much work, and I agree with you. And I don't think there's a need to have that much division on so it's nice to hear it from this group. And then for food, we can certainly also divide it up into further sections. So, because, I mean, we have fantastic food in Wasaga Beach, so it'd be great to market that. And then I think you said the only two sections are good eats and local fare. So yeah, that came from the site when it was originally made. So I think it's time that we update that and categorize it more. So I'll certainly find some time to make those changes.
Any other further discussion on the website? That's just what Caitlin needed, was more work.
No, well, no.
When Caitlin first started becoming, I said, I don't want this to become a committee that you think, oh no, every time I come here, it's more work.
No, the reason I added this item onto the agenda was because I wanted to see the website through someone else's eyes, right? So it really does help me.
Good. All right. Was there anything else? Is that all there was?
That's it.
Well, okay, we have because we have no subcommittee reports, there's no new business item for future meetings. We're going to talk about market research in the future. How do we carry on? We do have work on the beautification strategy. I guess some of that work can be done so that it's passed over to the next form of this committee. And we're not going to set any other, I'm not setting another date right now for another meeting.
No, so if I may, Chair, so this will be our last meeting until the next term of council. I believe it'd be good if you and I wrote the report for council.
Yes.
To get that on paper and get everyone's ideas written down. But that report wouldn't go to council until the next term. So at this point, we won't schedule a meeting. But the clerks will be sending out an email to all current members for to apply to be on the next committee. And I'll send out an information email as well on how to do that.
Okay, very good. So with that, we need a motion for our meeting to adjourn. Sylvia, second. Wendy, all in favor? We are adjourned.
We are adjourned.
Thanks, Kenneth. Appreciate you coming in from remote and all the work you put into your report. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm sorry I'm missing out on all the on being there in person, but I think it's better I keep my germs here to myself, up the street from the town hall. So yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that.
Good. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.